Hello everyone, my name is Forset Rising, otherwise known as Icarus/Chance, and with me today I am joined by Daption, the sub for Tempest Gaming. Daption, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm excited for the interview.
Awesome, it's a pleasure to have you here today, man. Tell me, how are you feeling after winning week one and mostly dominant fashion?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really. It's my first experience playing ADC in competitive, so I'm definitely it's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not talking as much. I'm not really leading the team as much, but I think for the most part, like playing with good players will always feel good,
Mm-hmm.
and Tempest Gaming has good players, so amazing,
One of
amazing,
the
basically.
top rated, if not the top rated seed right now, aside from
Yeah.
maybe near airport. How was it role swapping from support to AD carry?
That if I talk about that, it might be a long time, but I'll try to keep it as short as possible. But
Sure.
I think for a lot of like support players, you have like either the engaged support players or the enchanter support players, right? And in competitive, you don't really have you kind of have to like mix both of the styles, right? And you have a lot of players that are really good at enchanters, and then other players that are really good at engage. I was usually really good with enchanters, but I forced myself to play a lot of engaged champions because it was what was necessary. Uh, Sometimes when you play champions that you don't like for a long time, it makes you hate playing the role. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say that's what happened with support. Because I don't know, Leona Nautilus is just not for me, respectfully.
I'm a
I
support main.
can't. Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. I'm of the engaged support meta. I
Mm,
love playing Leona Nautilus.
hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's fair.
so this current meta has been very suffering for me. I don't like playing Nami
Hmm.
and Lulu. Oh my god,
Yeah, yeah,
she's
it's rough.
but she's Giga Busted, so you have to play her,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
100%.
have you
But from like,
enjoyed it?
sorry, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you enjoyed playing AD carry for Tempest?
I honestly, I think if I was reborn, I would probably, I would probably play ADC from the start because it's just so much. I don't know. It's just such a different experience. I don't have to rely on people to carry the game, and so a lot of the time when you lose the game, the responsibility falls on you or like, maybe another one of the carries. So I think that's honestly a pretty inspirational thing. I had some people when I stream like that tell me like if you watch people do it and they do it wrong. I don't know the exact saying, but it was something along the lines of this. If they can't do it right, just do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that kind of touched me, in a certain way because I was like, wow, that's deep. But in the moment, I was just laughing.
Yeah.
It's usually those moments that like kind of shape you as a person, and then it shaped me. And so yeah, I started playing ADC after my last split, and it's been nothing but amazing. Honestly, people respect you more. People hate on support so much. It's insane. Like you are treated like the bottom of the barrel. Like you cannot think. You can like. I'm gonna be honest. I have great friends in the community. I have a lot of good, friends that play other roles, but even then, like if you're treated okay as an AD carry, imagine what you're treated as a support of the same skill level, you know? So
Look at PVS.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's just it's a different experience. That's pretty much how I would describe it.
For sure. Touching a bit back more on week one, while they weren't the
Mhm.
strongest of opponents, they were still OQ level. Did you feel any pressure being the sub in the match and playing, first time AD carry and competitive?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. The only issue is that well, it's not an issue. It's more of a plus, but I was more prepared than like any other player. I mean, I played competitive for way too long for me to like not feel natural when I play these games. And so every time I get into like a competitive match, I have a certain mindset. It's like everything else is like doesn't really matter, and so I'm really really focused. And I think that's why ADC is such like a good fit for me, where I don't have to like vocalize myself or I mean, you have to talk. I'm not just saying you're not silent, but like at the same time, you're focusing on your own thing, and you got to do it better than others. So I think that's the beauty of being a carry. Like you really show that, yeah, I'm better than you, but that's obviously ego, but
Got a
and
stunt on him, right?
yeah, exactly. And sometimes like you okay, might be the better AD carry and you might lose, but for the most part, I feel like the general trend is like you play better, you should win.
Right. I mean, and speaking of you being around the scene for a while, you've played in a lot of different teams. How does it feel to be the veteran voice on a lot of the rosters that you are part of now?
Well, unfortunately for ADC, like I don't really see myself playing support in the near future or in the future at all, honestly. Uh, but I would say like since I'm playing ADC, I talk a lot less. I do still have like a foundation of knowledge. It doesn't really go away. Playing competitive,
Right.
it just you train that muscle and it's still there, fresh in my mind. So I definitely can lead my teammates, but now that I'm ADC, I don't do it nearly as much. In my previous teams, though, definitely one of like the higher more vocal players. I used to have like a little bit of an issue with talking a lot, but over the years I like kind of, settled the score with me and not talking too much. So that was pretty nice. And yeah, I mean, I can talk if it's needed. But I would prefer not to like talk and,
Yeah.
focus on mechanics.
You've beaten your demons, so to speak. Now,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
coming into the tournament, you were linked with a couple teams, but nothing really stuck. Tell me, how did you end up on Tempest as the sub?
Oh, that story is a little rough. Okay, so
Without flaming too hard.
no, it wasn't like a flame. It's just unfortunate, like cuz okay, so the team I was supposed to be okay, actually, I wasn't supposed to play on any team. I was planning on just focusing on streaming and, I was trying to make content for players because right now the quality of content for players, learning and getting into the game, it's very hard to find, and there are people there, but I would like to say I can maybe do it better. So that I was giving my hand at that. And so uh I kind of got messaged by Dantes' manager
Mm.
and he asked me like, would you like to try out? And I was like, I disclosing I don't want to play support. And they're like, okay, that's fine. We tried out. They liked me ADC, but then they couldn't find the support.
Oh.
So yeah, over the course of like a month, they tried finding a support, and then out of nowhere, they were like, "Daption, we'd like to offer you the spot, but for support." And I was like, I don't think I think I was pretty clear.
Yeah.
I did not want to play support." And they're like, "Yeah, but if you don't play support, like we don't have anybody else." So part of me kind of felt like I need to do this, but obviously I didn't need to do anything. I really didn't. I could have just said no.
Yeah.
But I thought it would be a good opportunity. Content creation, the whole team was really, really nice, I would say.
I remember
And so
that team. Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. I mean, TF Blade and Dantes definitely personalities, and when you have people that are willing to talk, you have like team chemistry, and that's kind of hard to find.
Yeah.
So yeah, I became the support. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely dreaded playing support. It was really, really, really like, like nails on chalkboard.
Yep.
That's what it felt like. Like every time you lock in, like for you, for example, like if you have to lock in Lulu, right? You might be like, I don't want to do this. For me, it was like, I have to lock in Nautilus. Are you serious? Yeah, it's just like not enjoyable for me. So even if like I was good at those champions, I just didn't want to.
Right.
And I think eventually that'll catch up to you. It caught up to me. I really, really did not like it. And then one day, this was like, I don't know if it was a month ago. I don't remember, honestly.
The TF Blade incident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So one day I just, it was a random day. I think it was like a Wednesday or something. We were supposed to scrim later that night, and I get a message from one of my friends, Manui, and Manui's on Tempest
Yeah.
Gaming, he's like, yeah, so what are you gonna do without a top laner? And I was like, you mean without a top laner, right? And he's like, hold on. He sends me the post of LCS EV saying that
Oh.
TF Lane is supposed to
Yeah.
join the Double Lift team, and I'm like, what the? I mean, I was mad. I'm gonna be honest. I can't lie. I was super pissed because this had been like a month and a half in the making, and
You role swapped again, right?
yeah. I feel like I sacrificed a decent amount of my mental, at least. But I just it took a while to process, and then we ended up having a meeting instead of a scrim that night, and TF Blade was really apologetic. Like, I understand, by the way, I
Yeah.
understand. Like, you have a better opportunity, 100%, go get it. It was just the way I learned he was leaving the team that was kind of insulting.
You learned through social media that you lost your job, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And like the thing is, like, you would think that, maybe some of the coaching staff would know. No, like, I found out, and a majority of the team found out through Twitter that we were not going to have TF played.
Yeah.
And people on Twitter found out before we were,
Yep.
so like the priorities just weren't there. And like maybe there was a mistake along the way. I have no ill will towards anybody on the team. I really wish the best for them. But yeah, no support for me. No, sir.
So then you
No.
left, right? And then
Yes.
how'd you end up on Tempest? Was it through Manui?
Yeah, it was literally after that night, Manui immediately he pounced onto the opportunity. He's like, Daption, we need a sub. You want a sub for our team? And I was like, I don't really know. I don't, cause the mark was still fresh,
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I don't really know if I even want to do this. Um, and eventually he was just like, yeah, Aaron needs to play, and he won't be there for the first week of OQs. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Let's just do it.
Right.
And yeah, that's how I ended up playing, like subbing in for scrims, and then playing the OQ weekend this weekend. And sorry, if Aaron ends up needing a sub, I'm always here as well.
Right.
So
I mean,
yeah,
and if they promote, maybe maybe
yeah,
there's a path there for you to be in the NACL.
maybe, maybe, yeah. I
Maybe,
mean,
right?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know what my future is in terms of competitive. I don't really see anything right now. I think I'm better than a majority of ADCs in solo queue,
Well,
but
one of my questions was how do you think you stack up against the other bot liners in the OQ, whether they're subs or starters? Let's say top 10,
uh,
top 30, top 50.
think I think in the OQs I'm the best ADC. But that's that's just ego.
Oh,
Yeah, I know it's ego. But the thing is, uh, I don't think you should compete if you don't think you're better than the competition.
fair
That's my
enough.
firm stance on
But
it.
to
Yeah,
say
I
to
think.
say you're better than Aaron, Double Lift, and Sync,
Oh yeah, unfortunately, I can't. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I played versus them in solo queue. Like, I know what their gameplay looks like. I've
right.
lost to Double Lift as well. Like, it's not an issue. But I think the difference between me and those players is that when it really matters, like, I'm willing to like stack up to the odds. I think that's the saying, and then be able to like beat people that usually shouldn't be unbeatable. I think I've done that a lot. So.
Fair enough. I mean, what expectations do you have for yourself as a player?
Mm, that's kind of a hard question because there's like two ways to answer this. I think in terms of competitive, if I ever get given an opportunity to play NACL like as a main roster player, I think I probably could be the best, but I don't really see myself pursuing that. I'm kind of like tired of the competitive scene is kind of toxic in the sense that like you'll have opportunities in the off season where people say like they need a player or whatnot, and then immediately like in the middle of conversations about needing a player, they'll just start ghosting you. It's
Yep.
just fair game in the competitive scene, and personally that sounds like a lot of mental anguish that I don't really want to go through. Um, and I do think that there's a lot of good players in NA, and like I think a lot of players deserve a chance. Um, it's just there are certain reasons why people wouldn't pick you up over other players, like
Right.
age,
Right. I mean, you're what,
history.
23 now?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So I know. Like I'm I'm not desirable to some of these teams, but I don't think your skills should be at competition with these other factors. I think that there are like double if could definitely take a spot off of some of these LTAs like ADC.
right. I
It
mean,
just
just
doesn't
just
do
look
it.
at Team Liquid, right? Half of their
Hmm.
roster is Giga Boomers, 26 and
Hmm.
older, right? So it's
Yeah.
like age doesn't really matter, and I feel like there's a stigma, right, for
Yeah.
esports players. You have to be young and talented, and to do this. But you could be old and talented too. You know.
I agree. I just think the word talent is a load of BS. I'm not
Oh.
gonna lie, because I don't think I have any talent. I don't think I have, you know, it's hard, like for some players, like you get constantly flamed. People always think that they're better than you, and you always have to like push yourself to the next level while enduring all that pressure. And I think it's just hard work in your attitude. If you have a good attitude, you will make it a very, very long way in esports. Obviously, there's luck involved. There's
Right.
nepotism.
Oh,
There's a whole lot of other
we
factors.
love nepo babies.
Right? Exactly. And I think there's a lot of frauds in NA, and I could definitely take their spots. If
Any
I
names?
really no, I can't. I'm not gonna name any names. I'm not making enemies out of anybody, and I'm not saying ADC role,
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I think I think there are like, other roles that could definitely have better players in them on them. Like for example, Zamudo like is a great, great, great player. I think he should be in the LTA.
I
I
agree.
don't know how he's not. Yeah, I don't know how he's not in the LTA, and
I think the unfortunate part for Zamudo in particular is top lane in North America is actually one of our best roles.
yeah, that's true.
Like I would say he's on par right now with like Licorice, Fudge,
Mhm,
and Castle, maybe 30 as well, right? Like, but he's
mhm.
on par with those players, right? If
Yeah,
you have these players in your team already, why not keep them in the system that they already know? You know,
yeah, that's fair.
I just he's Zamudo in particular because I gas Zamudo up as well, and I think
Yeah,
I think he should be in the LTA, but
yes.
he's just got the unfortunate disposition of being top lane.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with him like having to face some good competition, but I don't really see him being worse than any of the like I think he's on equal terms with Surdy, but some of the like Fudge as well probably, but
You
I
think
don't know
Licorice and
about
Castle are worse?
I I don't really I'm gonna be honest, like when you think of Licorice, like I don't know, I think of like players like Solo where they were in the LCS, like they don't really leave a mark, but
Yeah.
they still like are in the system, they're recycled, and it's just maybe he's a great player, maybe I don't know enough, and maybe I'm being ignorant, but that's just my opinion, and I think that Zamudo deserves one of those spots. That's pretty much it. That's how
Fair
I
enough.
see it.
I
Yeah.
definitely I definitely get your point there. Looking towards the rest of the tournament, however, Tempest has some pretty easy competition compared to the top 10 teams. Do you think
Yeah.
they're favored going up against any of their opponents, and even against Near Airport, who would be the finals opponent if the bracket goes that way?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who their versus like in the next few matches, so I
So
don't know if I
Tempest
can
has
talk on.
Pepe Lala next.
Hmm.
And then they face the winner of Gravity and Dog Fans, which is most likely Gravity.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then they face the winner of probably Galaxy and Apex Mission Impossible.
Okay, well, they're definitely gonna get to the finals. Like,
Yeah.
like off of those teams, I can definitely tell like they're better than a lot of those rosters, and
Hmm.
I think up until the finals, I think that's the only part that you should be worried about if you're like watching and supporting Tempest. But I definitely think that the players on the near airport team, like Double Lift and whatnot, I feel like they have a more like, content
Hmm.
focused approach. But I think the edge that everybody on Tempest has is that they have like nothing to lose. They want to win this no matter what, and they really want it. The competitive, they're all in the competitive aspect. If we verse the Double Lift team, amazing, it's content, but that's the plus for the near airport team. They want the content,
For
and
sure.
being competitive, I feel like is a second priority. So I think yeah, Tempest can definitely get away with their NECL spot. I think they if they win versus Near Airport in the finals, do they go NECL?
So they should win. They should be able to make it if they win against Gravity. If
Wait,
I'm not mistaken, or you could be right. No, you're right here. Yeah, if they beat Near Airport, they don't have to play. Then they make it through. Um,
mm,
and then I believe they face. I don't remember. It's really
I don't
weird
know.
here.
I don't know how it works.
Grand
But
final, like, oh god, because it's winner of Galaxy. So it'd be Galaxy Tempest, most likely,
mm,
and then they
uh,
play in C63, which is yeah. I think it's just they promote if they make that match.
wow, that
Because it's two from the top
crazy.
side bracket and one from the bottom side, so it would be
Wow.
them.
I mean, that's. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Tempest is gonna make it no matter what. If they don't, things happen. But I think the expectation for them, I don't think any of them think they're gonna lose. So
No,
yeah,
from what I hear, they seem to think that they are the best, and you guys
yeah.
should be. Um,
Mhm.
However, you as a player, you specifically, you've had a lot of good performances throughout your career. Most notably, you
Have
had a recent run with the Goon Squad, um,
oh.
where you almost promoted. Um, does this give you confidence in games, knowing that you have this expertise compared to other players?
So that's a little bit of a sore spot. I'm not gonna lie. We were definitely, I think with the roster that we had, different results were expected. But no, to answer your question, I definitely think that the experience is the only difference between me and like other players, and I'm lucky to have had experience on support because now I know how two roles are supposed to be played out
Right.
rather than one. I think that a lot of players. I don't know if you've noticed this, but players like Carrier, Busio, like a lot of the top supports in the world, they play other roles to learn the game fully. Like Busio literally had a split. I think it was a split where he just played like Aphelios in solo queue, and like he just learned like how to play ADC. And I think that's like honestly like crazy how that could help you. And now that I'm playing a lot more ADC, I feel like on top of the experience that I have playing support, like I feel unstoppable, Loki.
I mean, hey, you're a really good player. Um,
Appreciate it.
Touching back on that little sore note there, though, what went wrong in that series against Lotus? You beat them early. You beat them
uh,
earlier in the split.
well, so I think the matchup that we okay. So coming into that, let me just I don't think the matchup versus Lotus was anything, honestly. I think that our morale was definitely destroyed before that. It was the game versus AoE,
Yep.
I think what was their name is? Yeah. Versus City Witty. I actually made a pact against them. Um that if I won against them, he would have to watch a favorite anime of mine because I was so sure that we were gonna win versus their team. And then he made me promise that if he won, I would have to watch, some romance anime that I have no interest in, right? So yeah, needless to say, I had to watch the romance
Mm-hmm.
anime because in that series, let me think about what I'm gonna say real quick. I don't want to say anything that I would regret. I think that there were some I don't know how to say this nicely. Um, there was a gap in a certain role or two that I don't think anybody was expecting coming into the split. We didn't think that, it would be such a hard matchup versus AoE. I think that everybody on the team thought that we were going to win versus them. And then we got dropped down to the lower bracket versus Lotus. And, it was a rough matchup versus AoE. We almost won the last match. I think one of our players was he was hard losing lane, and then that transitioned to us like losing the game pretty hard. Um, but there were those players, they were not really putting in the same amount of effort as other players, like solo QIs, seriousness during practice time, and to know like I'm not here to throw shade on it at anybody, but it's just the results ended up like that, and I'm just giving you the results.
For
I don't
sure.
want to.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
don't want
completely
to
fine.
disrespect that.
Throughout your career, has there been any team that you've liked over the rest that you've played with? Maybe Charlotte Phoenix or Wildcard?
I think. Hmm. I think for me, I don't really associate myself to teams too much because I
Like,
definitely appreciate the journey that I've had with those like players, teams, and whatnot. But I tend to focus more on certain players and like their performance attitudes and like how inspirational it was to play with them. Like for example, playing with Arrow, mind blowing experience. This
right.
guy is like a being on another level. Like it was crazy playing with him because not only was he like amazing mechanically, he was also a really good coach, really good teacher, really good teammate. And we ended up losing that split. And I don't think I lost any respect for him versus some of the other players shifted blame onto me as much as they wanted to. And that's completely fine. Like, you know, you can always shift blame, but at the end of the day, if you can't get, the goal that you wanted and you've been blaming people your entire career, I don't really know who else you have to blame. So, um, I think Arrow is a really big one. And then I think the other player that I really, really think is probably one of the best players in the world would have to be like I haven't played with him, and I wouldn't be able to play with him now because I'm an ADC player. But I think Masu,
Yeah.
that guy's insane. That guy is
Masu is very, very good.
absolutely insane. Like it's I don't know. Whenever I play versus him in solo queue, like he'll be like some random ass champion, like I don't know, like Lux or something, and then he locks in like Syndra. I don't know, like he is so random but so good at the same time. I don't know if I've ever met somebody that's so
Unique?
yeah, like he's good, but he's also like a human, you know?
He's not.
Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
he's not like a
He's not like
I don't
a
know, like
like a carry bot who's gonna play the same champions over and over
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
He's someone who's going to play his game.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of players that could, take like learn something from him and, I think internationally he's doing amazing too. So
Is that who you model your AD carry play after?
uh I mean, he's definitely inspirational. I usually look at to improve. I watch like VODs of like Pays,
Yeah.
Gala, and like all of the Eastern 80 carries because
The
I think
mechanical
that they're
gods. Yeah.
yeah they're definitely a cut above, uh, the Europe and NA teams. But I definitely would say that I've learned some like mechanics from him.
Getting a bit
Compared to other
personal,
ADCs.
how has the struggle been subbing so much throughout your career? Do you think that you deserve to be a starter wherever you go at this point?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really. I think I don't even know how many times I've subbed. I think I subbed. It's more of a yeah. It's a little bit personal, so I'm not really gonna get into it too much. But during the times where I was subbing, it wasn't out of a complete willingness to
Yeah.
to be a sub, and it wasn't related to opportunities that I wasn't getting.
Right. I
It was
mean,
more related to personal life stuff, and
fair enough.
I kind of had to take a bit of a step back, and kind of review what I wanted to do with league and whatnot. And so that's why I think I've dragged out my league career a little bit. I think that I have a lot to offer. Um, it's just unfortunate that I've had to deal with certain things like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
You have subbed 7 times throughout your career.
have I? I don't even remember that. What the
Um,
hell?
those being Kings of Uganda,
Huh.
Zenith Esports, a small stint on York University where you were technically a sub, although we don't. I'm not really gonna count that. It's like a 3-day thing. Taco Gaming, where you were a sub.
Mhm.
Miracle, or not Miracle. Team Coachify, and then
Mhm.
Cincinnati Fear. You started as a sub.
Did I?
Apparently, I mean, obviously
Okay. Well,
you're the final say here, but
yeah. Well, okay. So two of
officially,
those, I think two of those are wrong. So the first one, okay. So
oh,
definitely Kings of
and Straw
Uganda.
Hat. Sorry, and Straw Hat.
I have
Where
no idea what team that is. I'm so.
Straw Hat crew?
Who's that?
Calc Frost, Tajayo Danny, Shushi, and Kim Down.
Oh, I subbed one. Okay. Some of those teams. Okay, so for the York University one, they needed an emergency sub, so I subbed in for them. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
some of these sub situations weren't like split long things. They
Yeah,
were
yeah,
just like
yeah.
emergency, like they needed somebody immediately. And I'm not sure whether or not I was playing competitive at the like during those splits or not. But for York University, I was that was like an emergency. Another one of them, right? Zenith Esports. Zenith Esports was under the name Zenith Esports before they became EGP. That's a really long story.
Yep.
If we go back, you
EGP,
know,
where you were the
yeah,
starter for.
yeah. I was well, no. I okay. I played for EGP a year after
Yeah.
I was playing for. It's really complicated, but basically, before when EGP was being formed, me and Danny were the bot lane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I was an enchanter player, so they didn't want me. So they went with the support Mist at the time.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and so that Zenith sub spot is from that. I didn't actually end up playing on their team or anything.
Got it.
So yeah, York University Zenith, and then yeah, a
Straw
year
Hat
after that,
crew. Yeah.
Shanghai Crew. That was emergency sub again. They needed me. I had to go. I guess I don't know,
So
but
so what I'm hearing right now is you're the
mhm.
man they call when they have an issue.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Hey,
they
we need some help. Even right now with Tempest, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
the
yeah,
man they
yeah, yeah.
call.
Yeah, I'm the good old reliable. You know, they need
Exactly.
somebody, and I'm there to help them. I definitely think I had like 3 or 4 sub spots.
Mm-hmm.
And those times, Kings
More.
of Uganda. Oh my God, that was like so long ago. Jesus, I don't even
uh,
remember anything from that. But I think
Definitely
it
a
was
deep cut.
yeah,
Not your first
friends of mine.
roster though. Your first
Mhm.
roster was 13 noobs. How's that? How's that remember?
Oh, that's a doozy. That's a very rough one. I mean, on that team, I don't even remember the entirety of our roster, but I mean, I was on the team with we had 2 top laners. We
Mm-hmm.
had I think 2 jungler. No, I had 1 jungler, I think, and then I had 2 ADCs, and we were 2 supports. It was really crazy. At the time, it was like 2019, and paying your rosters wasn't really a thing. And the owner of 13 Noobs was like, "We're gonna pay you $500 a month." He didn't do that, and he never paid us.
Damn.
And yeah, he kind of got away with that.
13
And
noobs. You still owe this man $500.
yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe I should have gone to the LCSPA, but I don't even think they were a thing back then. So
No,
yeah,
no.
that was yeah.
Are you happy being that reliable rock,
Mm,
or do you
if
want more?
if being a reliable rock always means that I have to be in the sidelines, not really. You know, like I don't really like being the second choice at all. I don't think anybody would, you know. Would
Right.
you like to be the second choice?
At least I'm a choice, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean
right, no,
that's fair.
no. I mean,
That's fair.
jokes aside, though, I definitely think a person of your skill level shouldn't be that second choice. You should have a roster, right? Um, but aside from League and all of this, right? What are some other things that you enjoy doing?
Mm,
Like, obviously, you said you make content, right? You stream.
I do stream. I mean, that's also kind of related to League, but I
Right.
mean, I've definitely done a lot. I go in like really really different directions. For me, competitiveness is really really important. So every day that I try to compete, I play Osu, which is like a
Yep.
reaction time game,
Yeah.
and
We love Osu.
it's yeah, it's really helped me like stay on par with the like mechanical ADC players and whatnot. Like I feel like playing versus Enthrall, he's a very good like Vayne mechanical player. I love Osu for that, and I played like Smash in the past, competitive, but not really too into that either. But definitely love anime. ReZero, my favorite anime. The third season's out.
It
No,
was
it's
it was all
running right
right.
now.
Not my favorite isekai, but
It's not your favorite. Well, unfortunately, you're wrong for that.
I am
But I,
not. Alice in Wonderland is the best isekai.
I mean, I've never, I don't even know that anime. But
It's
regardless, I just, yeah, I go in a lot of different directions.
yeah.
So with streaming, it kind of helps me like consolidate everything. I can like talk about everything that I'm interested in, create a community that's supportive towards each other, but also understands, the things that can anger you in video
Right.
games. Yeah.
Um, what do you have to say to your fans and to the fans of Tempest as a whole?
Well, I was gonna say I have fans, but like I
Same
don't.
exact answer that Bach gave.
I mean, yeah, I don't really, I don't. Okay, there's a lot of players that when they have a match or they play with a very, very, like high profile player in solo queue, they'll go to their stream and like go and check out what they said. I'm not really that type of player. I think your confidence should only come from, not only, but it should mainly come from like how you feel about yourself as a player.
Right.
And for now, like I definitely do think I'm, you know, cut above especially the OQ players. And if I ever get the opportunity, I hope that everybody will love having me compete. But I don't know if that's coming anytime soon. So yeah, that's what I would say to my fans. And thank you for supporting.
I have faith in you. Thank you so much for your time today, Daption. I wish you the best of luck and hoping you and your team promote. Is there anything you want to say? Any shout outs before we let you go?
You want me to shout out my Twitch channel? Like
Sure.
I can do that if you want.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, my follow me at twitch.tv/Daption. Yeah, I don't have lol in front of my name. It's pretty cool.
Ooh, there you go. A cut above already.
Yeah. True.
For more of my
Thank you.
interviews, go ahead and check out the Icarus channel. Links down below. Everyone, have a good day.
All right, bye bye.